with Sneaker Fair Kicks. You're listening to the Unpainted Podcast with Sneaker Fair Kicks. The dopest artists weighing in on staying creative, money, fame, and glory. Get that creative kick you need for the weekend. The Unpainted Podcast. Make art and hustle.
Yo. Welcome to the third episode of the Unpainted Podcast. I'm your host, Sneaker Fair Kicks. And today I have an amazing guest with a great and powerful story. I know you're going to dig this, so I'm just not going to waste any time and I'm going to jump straight into it. Please welcome my guest, A&H fam, Amanda Lester. All right, talk to the people, lady. Tell them a little bit about yourself, how you got into this art game, and let's kick it.
Well, it was kind of by accident. As far as with shoes, I hadn't actually picked up a pencil or drawn in some years. I actually started maybe, I want to say the end of 2019. Early 2020 started, and it was because one of my childhood friends had some old shoes, and I had been just randomly going on the internet just looking for things to do because I actually had came home for a while, became a wife, had kids, and now I'm trying to just make money on the side or just, get back in the swing of things and working or whatever. And so my husband actually was like I said, I was on YouTube and I was kind of like looking at videos, and then I came across like sneaker customization. I was like, ooh, this is what, and he was like, you could do that. I was like, I've been out of the game for a long time. So I probably haven't picked up a brush or a pencil since high school, which is bad. But I'm 38. I'm proud. But
that's what's up.
It's been a long time. And so when my childhood friend actually came to my husband, he was like, oh, just see what y'all could do with it. And I was like, yeah, I practice on some shoes. It might come out crappy, but we'll see what happens because I hadn't done it in a while. And it's just been from there. The first shoes that I did that I'm talking about are the DBZ shoes on my Instagram.
I saw those. Yeah.
So, and it just, I went from there. It's been a slow process because, again, like I said, I'm a mom. That's it. I'm a mom of three. Well, I have 4 babies. One is a grown adult. He's 22, but I have 3 smaller ones. So it's kind of, pretty much I've been raising them. So, but yeah, that's how I got into it.
Okay, where you from? Where you from?
Chicago. The west side of Chicago.
I was just gonna say, what part?
Sorry, that was my alarm. But the west side of Chicago, we done had our talks about that.
Right, we not
going. From the west side of Chicago, grew up there my whole life. Moved to the north side when I was in my 20s. Worked in real estate for 9-10 years, and then after that, got married, had kids, and then so
okay, well, before we get to that, because we're obviously going to get to that.
Wait a minute, the sound went out.
Did it? You good? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, my sound went out. I don't know why.
Uh-oh.
Here, let me turn it up over here.
Un momento, chat.
Yeah, my sound went out on my phone. But I can hear you on the live.
Awesome. Well, so I wanted to ask you, how do you describe your art style or your art journey? I wanted to ask you, how do you describe your art style or your art journey?
Uh, well, it's kind of been I've been trying to find my niche in a sense because I've just been dabbling in some of everything. Like I said, I started out with the DBZs. Um, I just recently started trying to do my own thing with some of the clients that I got, like my friends. They wanted like my one of my best friends from high school. She had a birthday for her son, and she wanted me to do some Naruto shoes. So, and she wanted me to actually turn him into a black character. So I've always wanted
Okay.
to try to like put my own spin on things. So right now that's where I'm at. But otherwise, I've just been trying to like dabble in different styles or what have you. But ultimately, I just want to have my own style, put my own twist on things at this point.
Okay then. That's pretty dope. And I'm big on that. I like to put my own twist on things. I definitely vibe with that. So I know you want to talk about this, and that's why I got you on here because I don't think
I'm
that
not,
voice
I
is
can't even hear you. I don't know.
okay. Yeah. Let me see. Maybe I could do something on my end. You might have to jump out and come back.
All right. Fine.
Can you hear me now?
All right. Fine.
Hello.
I can hear you on the live, but not on my phone.
Yes.
If I refresh the page, will it be okay? I can
Yeah,
hear
go
you
ahead, try
on the
it.
live, but not on my phone. If I refresh the page, will it be okay?
Technical difficulties, people. But we gonna push on through. It happens. But I gotta get this story on here because this is a great story. Story about a mom.
All right, there we go.
You can hear me.
Yes. I can hear you now.
All right.
I'm sorry.
That sounds good. Don't worry about it. We got it to work. So now that we back on track, yes sir. Let's get down to it. Let's for what everybody came to see. Let's tell them this story. How is this being an artist and being a mom?
It's a little tough because just trying to find the time to actually do the artwork. Like now, the reason why I had to do this interview at nighttime is because my babies, they want to ask mommy for everything when you're trying to do something. But it's like you have to take it on a case by case or a day by day basis. Um, you know, when the kids are in school, usually I do some work, or late at night I'm doing some work, or when I can. Um, but a lot of times I get a lot of mom guilt because sometimes I gotta tell them, no, you can't bother me right now. I have to concentrate. And like what you were saying, when you get in the zone, you're trying to
Yeah.
just stay focused, and then you got a kid like, Mom, so or a baby comes in and just scares me real good while I'm in the zone and push up against my arm, and I'm like, no, you're gonna make me mess up.
Yeah, my son got that bad too.
So
Yeah, they don't know any better, just my my son is very fascinated with what's going on in his room, because at school, they do arts and crafts, so it's kind of like it's to have a creative parent is probably really easy for a child to connect with that. They children are naturally in a creative zone. They don't know any better, so mostly everything for them is in some ways very imaginative. So
my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter draws too, and my
awesome
6-year-old daughter. But the thing is that they want to do it at the same time that I have to do work, and so they ask me a million questions while I'm trying to do something. And
right.
I mean, it's fine, but it's just just trying to find the balance between the two. And it's kind of like I try to put them to work too while I'm working, or when they sleep, I try to work, or things like that. But it's a balance. It's a juggle that you have to do.
And how do you think that this affects your creativity? Like, are you feel that you are creative less, or do you feel like when you have to be creative, like when it actually counts, that you're able to like dial in and do your best work because like you haven't like maybe let's say you go like longer periods without being creative compared to some of us. So like how does it affect your creativity as a whole?
It does affect it, but most of the time I'm always thinking about something. Even when I'm asleep, like when I do get in the zone at nighttime, I sometimes don't go to bed until like 3:00 in the morning or 4:00 in the morning. Like I can be laying in the bed, but I'm thinking about this.
I get it. Yeah.
Oh, did I do that right? Or maybe I could tweak this. Like my husband always gets upset with me because I'm laying in the bed with the phone in my face because I done took a picture of what I'm working on. And he's like, that light is a little bright. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm trying to go to bed. But, I'm trying to, I mean, I do have periods of downtime, but with a creative mind, you're always thinking. So
that's true. That's 100% true. I totally get it. I mean, how do you turn off a brain full of ideas?
Hold on, the sound went out again. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
It's the kids messing with the phones and the Wi-Fi. Uh-oh. All right, so I guess we gotta wait on and there we go.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Girl, what kind of Wi-Fi do you got over there?
No, it's my it's my alarms. I have and that's the other thing. I have lots of alarms to tell me to put the kids to bed, to tell me to make sure they
What?
I do. What? Said, I have it's a balance. And I forgot to turn all my alarms off.
Hey, well, I mean, I guess it's a good thing, because I don't know how many people know what it's like for a parent and specifically a mother to have to, do these kinds of things because, I mean, I can't recall a mother that is a creative that I've spoken to on this level before. I do know moms that are creative, but they don't really speak about family life as much and how like what that does, with their creative time and their creative spaces. Because I mean, I'm although not being a mother, I am a father and a husband. So, it's kind of just like flip the genders, and I know exactly what's going on. I mean, I'll be lucky if I get a solid 8 hours interrupted, in the studio time, cause me and my wife, work from home, and so I'm getting all kind of stuff. I could be, right in the middle of something. She like, babe, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, can you do it yourself? Like, like, is it something you can do yourself? Did you try to do it yourself before you called me? And then I go over there. I'm like, yeah, and it's like, let me tell you what happened. No, no, don't tell me what happened because it's not an emergency. So come over here and sit in the studio and tell me what happened. And then again, maybe you shouldn't do that because I'm busy. I'm focusing. I don't, I don't need that right now. So I get it. And, even with my son, except like my rules are, like when he asks for things, that's my rule. When he asks for things, then I stop what I'm doing, It might not be a convenient time, but just because of how I felt as a kid, I never want my son to feel like I don't have enough time for him. Because that was a big issue for me, growing up, was feeling like my dad didn't have enough time for me. And, because I mean, my dad was like in and out the door, like he, to the point where it just seemed like he would prefer to work more than he would prefer to be home. But, as I got older and I became my own adult, I began to understand. It started to make more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he could have did a better job and, made more time for me. I can't let him off the hook, because kids don't know what that means. So, and you can't hold that against them for not wanting your time. Like you don't have to do OT all the time,
Yeah, that's where the like the mom guilt comes in. And
right.
I'm like, I try to make sure that I do give them the proper time that they need in like homework. Like I'm the one that goes, I drop them off at school, I pick them up, I make sure, like even in the morning time we have like a little routine. I'm a woman of faith, so like in the morning time we say our devotionals. We, sometimes if they done got on my nerves at nighttime, we have our talks. We go over what we gotta do for the day after school. I when we're walking home, because we walk home from the school, I make sure that I ask them about their day, what's going on and like how are they feeling, that they, what they do in school, like did they make friends today, blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah. That's a huge thing that I'm also trying to juggle, to make sure that I am present with them and making sure that they know that.
I think she caught another alarm.
All right, there you go. Is that you or me?
You got another. I don't know. Wasn't me. I thought you caught another alarm.
No. But no, but yeah, that's a huge thing for me, that I want to make sure that I am present here for them, and making sure that I they know that I am there for them. So
yeah, I man, that's big, because that's how it is for me, with my son. So I gotta ask, like, since we're talking parent to parent, how or have you ever incorporated them into your creative space, so that maybe for me, I do it, for his entertainment. I do it sometimes to help him understand like what's going on in here. I let him see because my son's really intuitive, genius level boy. And I let him do things so he can see, like, I'll tell him bring me his shoes, and I have him sit right here and scrub his shoes out and things like that. Or if he wants to draw and stuff, like I'll let him like take a corner.
So actually with my kids, they have their own space actually in the family room. And today my daughter, even though she makes a huge mess, she has her craft time. So even with her, she started making customized fans for her friends at school.
Oh.
And or she'll like draw pictures for them. And I have her even go on YouTube, like when I'm not able to just sit there with her and teach her or anything, I have her go on YouTube and look at the YouTube videos, because YouTube is a wonderful thing. It's a good teacher. And
it's YouTube University.
Yeah. So I have.
That's what I call it.
And my 6-year-old, who she draws way better than I did at her age. She does the same thing. She draws like I just set up because we just moved into our house, so I just set up the drafting table over here. And so yeah, I was thinking about just having them maybe come in here sometimes, but and my son, the baby, he's 5. Same with him, but he's a video game head like his dad, so he'll get into drawing at some point. But I'll let him sit in the floor and just play video games while I'm painting something, because he's here with me. He doesn't start school until next year because he just turned 5. So yeah, I try my best to like have them come in here instead of isolating myself, like, go away. I try to have them.
Yeah.
Can see it and see what mommy is doing, because my daughter, I do plan on trying to give her a shoe at some point, but then I have to think about like I said, we just got the house, the paint, and this carpet in the family room, and I'm just trying to figure out like how we gonna make this work. I'm gonna have to put down a lot of trash bags. So
it's a good question. Yeah, I definitely feel you on that, because like I had to give in, especially with my son. Like, my son don't understand privacy, so not that we haven't tried, and he doesn't know the word. It's just privacy doesn't mean anything. Privacy means nothing to him. It's like, yeah, okay, like, yeah, I know you want privacy, but I want something too. And so like when my door is closed, like if you pay attention on some like lives, you can hear like you can hear that. That's him. and so like if I don't hear it, he'll just blow the whole door open, and you can hear, like, if you ever hear somebody going like daddy, like in the background, that's him, and he right next to me. You just can't see him because he's he's so short. You can't see him, but he like right up under me. Like, who are you? Are those your friends? Can I see him? Like,
I know.
What are you painting? What are you painting? But he don't. So I just gave in, and like now I don't like close the door all the way. I just like like I don't like where the lock clicks. I don't do that anymore. I just like leave it to where he can push it, because it's like if he want to come in here, he gonna open the door. And if I close it, then he has more to say.
Yeah.
And it's less inclined to be like, oh, okay, not right now. He's he just boom, not throw up and be like, look, I drew this picture, and all this kind of stuff. So like, right, yeah. It's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I can't right now, like, but I take his pictures. So like my studio door has like all his like drawings, like the ones he's like proud of. I put them on the door for him so that he can see like, okay, this is my room and all of that. But like you still matter. So like, these are
Yeah.
your drawings.
Yeah.
These are your drawings. On my room, just to let him have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And cause one of the things I worried about, it's just so like hilarious now that I think about it. Like I always worry, and especially once my wife got pregnant, was like, so how am I going to handle, like the first couple of years, like when your kids, like they tend to draw and color, for entertainment and stuff. How, in like arts and crafts in school, how am I going to handle that as an adult? Being that this is like my life, like I've been doing this, like,
Yeah.
the age my son is when I started. So I've been doing this for like 30 years. And it's
Yeah.
like, how are we going to work that out,
Mm-hmm.
because is that going to feel like pressure for him having
Yeah.
a father, that is creative, a father that has like awards, and
Mm-hmm.
he could find me on like TV, the internet,
Mm-hmm.
articles and stuff like that. How is that gonna feel for him, when he's like, oh, I drew this picture, and it's like, I don't know if I want to I don't want my dad to be, like critical of me.
Yeah.
It's like, because sometimes like, fortunately enough, when he draws, like, I mean, he is amazingly accurate. It's like, you got that from me. You got that from me. Like, when he draws people, he puts noses on them, ears,
Mm-hmm.
lips, like the stuff most kids miss. He puts some on there.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, the only woman, this is too funny, the only woman that he draws with hair is his granny. Everybody else is like bald head, or they got like the little sticks for
Yeah.
hair. It look, like the little things like this on the top of their
Mm-hmm.
head, like like they look like
Uh-huh.
that. Cause he
Mm-hmm.
drew this picture of my wife, and I was looking. I said, August, who is this? Cause I did, he usually writes the name of the people at the bottom, like
Yeah.
most kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he drew a picture of him and his mom, but I didn't see the names. I seen his name. I said, okay, August. And I was just looking at the other person, because I was like looking at the hair. Like they had like spiky hair, and it was like short.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, who is this, August? And he was like, that's mommy. And I'm like, oh yeah, like where? And
Show
she
us your
was like, you
mommy.
got her. I was like, and it was like, you gotta remember that he only draw like his granny with like actual, like,
Uh-huh.
feminine hair. Like everybody else
Mm-hmm.
is like bald head, or they got like
Uh-huh.
the Cynthia Dow hair,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. My
But they
my
be,
baby.
but his drawings is accurate though. Like, they
Yeah.
look like people. You don't have to guess like, what is this? Like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm. He's how old is he? Like 4, you said, right?
Yeah, he'll be 5 at the end of April.
Okay, yeah. It'll come for, like I said, the my babies, they look at YouTube, so they have favorites on there, and they actually draw pretty, like my 6-year old, she draws like princesses, and it's actually I wish I had one in here. I just put one up in her room. Um, he gonna get there. He's gonna get there. They're pretty good. Actually, I think I got a couple of pictures of what they drew on my Facebook page. And they're getting pretty good. It's as they learn. And then when he in school?
Yeah.
He's in preschool or in
Yeah, he's in pre-K right now.
yeah, as he gonna he gonna get better. Does he well, he's the only child. My kids tend to draw where it's just me, they daddy, and then just them. Like that specific child. Like the other ones don't exist. That's what my
That's
kids
funny.
are
They
right
trying to
now.
tell you something. They trying to
Yes.
tell you something.
Or they as big as us. Or my daughter, my 6-year old, she's the middle child. That's my special child. She'll draw
Uh
herself.
oh. Don't say that on this live. Don't claim no favorites on this live. Don't do
No,
that.
no, no.
Don't claim no favorites.
She's the one I have to like she's my baby. She's not. It's not that. It's just she's the one that's really really tenacious. I want to say that's my
Mm.
tenacious child. So
That's a code word.
but yeah, she draws herself where she's as big as us. They think that they like our age. So
Yeah, he trying
um
to tell you something.
yeah. So but yeah, they're I'm actually really impressed with them, like how well they draw, and I'm because both myself and my husband draw, and it's funny, like
Right. Yeah. Talk about that.
yeah. So even I even have to go back to like even how my husband and I met. We were
Oh, spicy.
no, it was we were always at the same place at the same time, but just never knew each other. So
Huh.
we actually met online. And back then it was Black Planet. Remember Black Planet?
Oh no! Don't talk about Black Planet. Oh
Listen,
no.
let me explain that. I went on there one time and I said, I'm gonna try this just cause. And it was him and one other person, and they were the only two people that I just, you know how you had to give a smiley face or whatever. I did it, and then I was like, nah, I ain't doing this, and got off. And then he actually, what do you call it, winked or poked me back, and then after that,
Something like that.
history from there. But we found out because he's from the south side of Chicago, and I'm from the west side of Chicago, and we found out that. Huh? We found out that he was on track like me. He was at Gallery 37. I don't know if you ever did Gallery 37.
I
Um,
know about it. I never did
yeah,
it.
I used to do that. I started in sixth grade. It's a fine arts program where they
Yeah.
have the kids for the summertime to go down and do different types of art. Whether it's through dance or through they did pottery, they did illustration, all of that stuff. We
Yeah. I
used
wanted.
to
I
do that.
wanted to.
It was
I
fun. It
wanted
was
to,
actually
but
a great experience doing that.
my people was like, nah. But it's okay because I wound up taking lessons at the art institute, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Yeah, I was a privileged poor kid. I don't know how that works, but
no, and the way
it's
that you
privileged and poor at the same time.
with the way that you speak though, I can tell you were around what they call the OGs. I can tell that you were around them
Yeah.
because they play no
Yeah.
games.
Too many of them. Too many of them.
Hmm. They play no games, especially when it comes to the craft, and they expect you to do what you're supposed to do. And so
Yeah, buddy.
that's why like I like even when you talk in your lives and stuff, I totally understand where you're coming from. As far as like the discipline part and you know, like you said with your even the theme of your show, hustle, um, is something that a lot of people or a lot of like you said, a lot of artists have to get used to doing because they got the creative part, but the hustle part and the actual discipline part is something that you got to work on. I too have to myself have to work on that. So,
I
but
mean, don't we all? I got some parts I need to polish. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I got it all together. But I would like to think at this point it's more rounded than it's ever been. So it's easier to explain to somebody um, where things can go wrong
mhm.
and how, because I've kind of like polished a few more of the edges that things are working very well at this point. So,
Mhm.
at least I could explain, you know, what will help you get to a certain point
Mhm.
rather than just sounding like I'm making stuff up, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. No, I like I said, it's I've been trying my best, and like I said, even like with my husband, he's been a huge help though. even though like I'm the mom, he's been a huge help because he works, but he also does like the airbrushing sometimes. Like we've been so I can churn out stuff a lot faster. Um he
Oh
we
man,
well we
can I get some heart? Can I get some hearts in the chat for this power couple here?
we're trying. We like I said, we just
Well,
got
my
set
wife
up.
can't paint nothing, so I'm solo dolo, so I'm jealous.
Yeah, we just got set back up so that he can help me with the airbrush because I really need to learn how to use it, at least for the background part at least. So it can
Okay.
be a little faster and I can, like perfect my craft in a sense and add, another tool that I can use onto it. But yeah, he's been a huge help even with just the kids, helping out with the kids at nighttime. He's even cooked, which I'm so thankful for at night. So we kind of, it's like I was saying, it's a balance. And with him helping out and doing what he does to help me out, even though he works, that's the only way I've been able to survive this long. So
So like, we getting the Batman and Robin vibes. Hello, I mean, so who's got what strengths when it comes to creativity in this case?
so I kind of look at it. My husband took the back seat. Okay, so he might
Uh
think
oh,
the
uh
same,
oh. So
but
you telling me that you're Batman then, huh?
no. So when we first started dating, I told him that I draw, and he was like, "Oh, I draw too," because he did. He used to. He was he did. I think he said a mural at his school. Um
Mm.
and like he used to be real big in the art scene at his school. So I told him that I draw, and so he was like, "Oh, okay." When you have what do you call it? A certain cockiness about you.
Yes,
when
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I was
Yes.
like, "Oh, I draw too." So I don't know. I guess he thought I was like talking about some coloring page, so whatever. But
Yikes.
and so like when I actually showed him
Uh
that I
oh. Uh
actually
oh.
knew how to draw,
Somebody has entered the chat.
um, he he was like, "Oh, for real? You really, really know how to?" And he kind of took a back seat, but no, he actually does. My husband knows how to get down with the pencil. He really does. But he kind of took a back seat because um he wanted me to get out of my comfort zone. Shut up. Whatever.
Say, bro, we're gonna have to get you on the podcast to tell your side. I'm with you, bruh. Support the bros. I'm gonna get you on the podcast. I ain't gonna let her do you like that.
No, but he kind of let me take the reins with it because he wanted me to be confident. Like because at first I wasn't like really confident in it because I
Uh
hadn't
huh.
done it for so long. And he was like, "Go ahead and do it. You can do it." So I do have to like thank him for that because he kind of got me back into it and did get my confidence back in drawing and art and just in the craft period because he was the one that got the stuff for me and was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Look, use this, do it." So I do I do I have to give him kudos and have to thank him because actually if he hadn't have been here I probably would not be doing this. I probably would not be doing any of this work.
Yo, that's pretty dope. To say because I mean it speaks volumes. You know, yeah, like I've been very fortunate as well to have my wife in my corner to like see me do my thing and, be appreciative of it, because that's not a thing for, for some people. Some people spend more time proving themselves to their significant others than actually receiving that support. So that's really a big deal. And yeah, I believe, over the last few years, I've been able to experience it more and really reflect on it. But it is very valuable, as a married person to have your spouse in your corner in your creative endeavors, because as I always say to people is, creative energy is like a mix of like all energy. It's mental, it's physical, it's emotional, and there's a spiritual aspect to this too. So like, having your spouse in your corner is a big deal, because excuse me, get like that person does support you emotionally and mentally, and like all of that together, it is a part of, it's a part of your your spiritual core, and without having that person that's like, hey, go for it, do this, do that, like, like I love when my wife catch on to something, and she say, hey, like my wife sends me like information on like art shows or pop-ups, if she sees them on her Facebook feed. She takes my cards with her. She speaks to me when people, in casual conversation, various things, or even sometimes to be like, hey, how's that one project you was that you was talking about, how is it going, those kinds of things. She asks about some of you that she know by name, somehow, but having that support, it's those small things that help out, because like without that, then the question started to creep in your mind: do they care? And all and all of that, and that affects us, because we get in our own heads, and when you start to feel like you're not getting that support at home, that hey, it's no telling where you're going from there.
I actually I was talking to one of the clients, and I'm so thankful for the clients that I have, because even with this, in some ways I have fumbled through it. And like you were saying, even emotionally, your emotions are connected to your artwork. And so if your emotions are off, well, I know for me, if my emotions are off, I get artist block. And I can't,
oh yeah, no doubt,
I can't do anything, and I'm just like, I'm frozen, and I'm trying to like get out of it. And like he's been a huge help with that. Like when I'm stressed, if I'm stressed out, I'll get I remember it was one project, oh Lord, I had gotten so stressed where I picked up the wrong color, and it was a huge brush too, and just painted over all the work I did. I'm like, oh my God. And I had to do it over again. And my husband, he was there, and he was like, it's okay. It's okay. We can do this. Like he'll sit with me if he got to, because he's a night owl, because he's a truck driver. So he drives.
Oh yeah.
So so he was the one that helped me to train to stay up late. It was a training process, So
I hear you.
So yeah, having that support is a must, because especially for a lot of creatives, I'm blessed in that way with my husband, and having him to be here with me to help me through this, because I get anxious. Sometimes I get anxiety, and he's like, calm down, girl. It's gonna be all right.
yeah, that's a big thing for husbands, to tell y'all, like, just calm down.
He's like, stand down, you're doing too much.
Yeah. We have to say that, So sometimes I say it and nothing's even going on. I just come in the room and I'm just like, calm down. Yeah, for no reason. She look at me like, it's your problem. Like, just calm down. You thinking about something. You thinking about something. Calm down.
Mm-hmm. No.
Because I can.
Mm-mm.
It's my house.
But yeah, it's been like I said, a learning process. Like all of this has been a learning process, and like I was talking to you before, like even with just time management, that's another thing. Time management is,
Oh, I bet.
and especially like with being a mom, like I've even reached out to it was one other mom, I forgot her handle, but she even told me like, she has like a babysitter, but she's more established. Like she's a really big, I wish I remember her handle, but I think I want to say Shop Girl. I can't remember what her handle is, but I reached out to her like one time, and she was saying like, don't have the mom guilt. It's okay. It comes with time. It's a process, and like you were saying before in the beginning, it's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't talk about, like real life, like what goes on and what it entails. Because I do sometimes get like a little sad about like, oh, I'm not churning out enough shoes, or I'm not, keeping up with everybody else. But then I have to remember in my mind, you're not single, you're not in your 20s, you have 4 kids. So it's okay. So and yeah, and it's, like who was that, like KCJ was saying, your time will come, and it's going to be it's a learning process and a learning curve. So I have to remember to be kind to myself, I guess.
That's the one right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. Be kind to yourself. Artists,
Mm-hmm.
artists, artists. Please be kind to yourself. Cause I'm tell you the truth. Like the likely reality of your situation is that you only seen it from one angle, so you have no clue what you're talking about. Be nice to yourself. Be nice because
Yeah.
you're putting an undue pressure on yourself. Like, big thing I always say is, who are you comparing yourself to?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And why? Because you cannot do what other people do, and it's because of your life circumstances,
Yeah.
and you should not want to do what other people do, because who wants to live in somebody else's shadow? I mean, those of us who dwell in certain circles in the art game, especially on social media, you should know what that looks like, because you have surely seen somebody post something and immediately that person gets compared to the at least people believe is the originator of that, that look.
Mm-hmm.
So, I see it all the time. People do the lightning bolts and stuff like that. They'll go, oh, that look like such and such work. I mean, and I'm kind of looking like, yikes, yo, like, I wish they didn't. I wish they didn't comment that, But at the same time, it's like, man, that come from that comparison. Some people see that and they see it's popular and say, oh, I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your reasons are, just understand that that might be it could just be a subconscious thing that you're doing, and now you comparing yourself, or being in certain squares. Like, I don't like, personally, I don't like when I hear people say, oh, I'm trying to keep up with you. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. If you watch this and we cool, we tight like that, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, don't keep up with me. Don't.
Yeah.
It's not worth your time, because if I had enough time to tell you my story from start to finish, you would understand why it makes sense that I'm moving the way I do. but could you do so if you even had the availability that I do? You know, could you do it? If not, that's fine, because God didn't set you up to do it my way. That's not
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
to
the
each
point.
his
You
own.
weren't
It's
set
your
up to do
own
it other
journey.
people's way.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have to remind myself of that all the time, and just in a sense, that's where you had brought it up in one of the podcasts. What was the question you had asked? Well, you might be getting to those prompts though. um
Hey, girl, I asked so many questions. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Whatever,
don't
whatever
remember.
you think the question was.
It was something about where what do you think is in today's world an artist's biggest what did you say, biggest problem
Probably said
or
challenge. Probably
challenge?
said
Yeah,
artist's
something like
biggest
that.
challenge.
And
Okay, well, go and answer that for us.
to me it's yourself, your mind, because
Okay.
pretty much nowadays with the way social media is, and since the panoramic, everybody's
The
in their mind.
panoramic. Yeah. That
And
dang
it's
on the
pretty much
Marion.
I, it's pretty much you and your iPad, iPhone, Android for these Android people. Um
We don't
Android.
talk about them. We don't talk about Android users on this podcast.
But it's pretty much you and that. And it is up to you whether or not to because that's what it was when you guys were talking about, like, let me plug in my phone because my phone look like it's about to die. But yeah, so
Uh-oh.
when you were talking about like likes and what was the other one? Likes and comments and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think it's more so to do with the person, because all of that stuff, and it's kind of like all these voices,
Yeah.
and you can shut it out. You just have to like put your phone down, or not not allow, like you were saying, what other people's, how they're doing things and their journeys and things, not let it come in and think that that's what you're supposed to be doing at that time, because like you said, that's why God made different people. Even though we may do the same thing, you don't put Amanda sauce on it and I don't put, Anthony sauce on it. So I mean, everybody got to realize that, and find, I guess that's part of the artist's journey in a sense, but find yourself, if you want to put it that way. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest challenge is just your own mind and your own doubts and insecurities, and just trying to hone in on what it is that you want to say as far as with your artwork, and just cut out all the noise in a sense.
Yeah, that can be a tough one, which
Hmm.
kind of leads me, man. You segued into that without me even have to. You got skills. Okay, I respect that. I respect that. So there's a book. I'm big on my books. Y'all know me.
Hmm.
Y'all know me. I'm big on my books. You
Hmm.
know, and I got a book for everything. Try me. I got a book for every situation.
Hmm.
So what you just segued into is, I wanted to ask you a little bit. I want to read this little bit from this book that I recommend to everybody who is a
Hmm.
creative, and it's called "Nobody Knows What They're Doing."
Hmm.
Nobody knows what they're doing.
I had a teacher tell me that.
Yes, this book is nobody knows what they're doing. The 10 secrets all artists should know.
Hmm.
This book is an amazing book, and I read I seen this in the store, and I said, like, that's what I do. Like, I look at books, and if the book resonates, I pick it up because I know it's something
Hmm.
in there. So when I picked it up, I said, yeah, this is gonna be a good one, and I know this gonna have like conversations in it for like days to come. So like and I enjoyed it. It really does. So the part I want to read is called Art versus Content. Okay, so it says artists face an ever increasing pressure to be consistent content creators. Content is art, obviously, but content is also very different. Content must be authentic, shareable, current, funny, clever, well executed, relatable, self deprecating, but without wallowing in self pity. And of course, a wonderful piece of finished artwork. I could tell you simply not to let yourself be sucked into that pressure. I could tell you that it is often imagined and self inflicted, that you can even choose to remove yourself from it. But who am I kidding? If you want to be an artist today who earns a living and isn't forgotten, that's my put a bookmark on that one. Making art is rarely enough. You also have to share it. Okay, and so it's like real big right here. It says you have to be seen and you have to stand out. But, and that's very big, but you don't have to obey the rules of social media for artists. Those rules are nothing more than shots in the dark. They are completely made up, often by people who know no more than you about becoming a social media star. In fact, artists who do have large social media followings rarely know how those followers found them. In almost every instance, they were simply sharing work they loved to make, and one day something unknowable clicked.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm finding that out in general. That's kind of like life and that's parenting. No one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not for real.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's true. I mean, like, which is why I love this book. And I mean, I really like how people do those audiobooks where they just sit there and read them.
yeah.
I would read this book verbatim to people because I don't need to say much. This book, like my entire philosophy on like how people talk about like like, oh man, people like, oh, teach me how to do this, man. I know you know, and you doing this and you work. I see you, like, could you coach me? And it's like, well, yes, I guess, but the thing is like I gotta, in a sense. But in a sense, I would have to break a person down in order to like really talk to people when it comes to like this, this art thing. We got her back. Okay. Girl, you in and out like popcorn.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Too funny. Yeah, but
I'm not bursting.
it's all good. It's the mommy brain. I get it.
I know.
I know about mommy brain a little bit. But yeah, like people ask me about like, oh man, how you do this and all that. It's like the first thing is like I gotta break you with some of your beliefs and some of your habits, because that's the stuff that's messing you up. Like when I say like who you compare yourself to, like what is it that you believe in and where are you getting that stuff from? And like a lot of the stuff that I thought when I read this book, I'm like, man, did I write this or what? Cause we kind of on the same page, and clearly this person is at least a few years older than me. But like that's a big deal, because like this social media thing, one thing I really really wish people would understand is that nobody knows what they're doing.
No.
Like nobody. We all pick something that works and we stick with it. If you ask 3 people who are successful on social media, or like doing well, we'll say that, not even successful, they doing well, it's working, things are going good, the approach is different. The approach is way different, and depending on what they do, like every artist, like there are people who only paint on canvas. The way they promote that stuff is slightly different than the way somebody who is like a shoe customizer, that type of artist, the approach is different. The people they probably promote to likely a little different, but this social media game is that a game, and it's different styles of play. So when you go into this and you like you gotta do it a certain way, it's like, who told you that? What you do is you learn the rules. It's a common saying, but a mentor of mine, she used to always say this to me, and it didn't make sense when I was younger, because I'm like, I don't get what that means. But she would say, the reason you learn the rules, Anthony, when it comes to like drawing and painting, the reason you learn the rules is so that you can break them later. Once you master the rules, you can break them. Once you've mastered them, and and I was like, I don't really understand. And she would say it means that you're allowed to, you will be that much more creative once you understand the rules.
Yeah.
And your creativity is what breaks the rules. So when case in point, when you learn how to do a portrait by the rules and stuff like that, you can pick which rules you want to use and which rules you don't, and that allows you to be that much more creative. You can adhere to proportions if you want to, or you can be disproportionate the same way Picasso paints portraits. Very disproportionate. You can do these kinds of things if you so choose, but first you learn the rules so that you have a new skill. And now you're more versatile. And at which another thing is like, when things go wrong, you know what to do to get back on track.
Instead of the anxiety coming in and you getting scared and stopping all together.
Right, and that very same thing applies to social media, because like this book, Nobody Knows What They're Doing, is an advocate for creativity, because that's actually spoiler alert, like the whole basis of this book. It says nobody knows what they're doing because everybody is doing things in their own way.
Yeah.
It basically tells you that there's no real rules. All the rules, you made them up. You made up all those rules. Or you accepted somebody else's way of doing it as law. Basically, and therefore, by that right, nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's just being creative.
And finding their niche or where they fit.
Yeah. At the bottom of that page, it says, to make your best work, you must forget about the likes and the followers and the algorithms.
Yeah.
As we talked about, you talked about a little earlier about the pressures, right? The pressures to create. Me and KCJ Customs, check that out on episode 2. Me and me and Frankie on the first episode, we talked about that too. The pressures of creating and social media and all of that. You got to disconnect. Like sometimes y'all see me on live. When you see me on live, I'm probably doing the most simple part of that project. Probably the most simple things. I'm not doing the difficult parts. When I'm at that part, I'm not on live. I'm not doing that because I have to disconnect, because I am not going to execute properly talking to y'all. I'm not going to execute properly, answering questions about color theory or stuff like that. I'm not going to execute. I disconnect. I turn it all off. I don't, sometimes some of you, on live and stuff like that, I don't even know. You be like, man, we was looking for you on live. My phone's on Do Not Disturb, because I can't do that. I cannot do that. I'm focusing on you. What's good, FaZe? But there's a part where I have to disconnect as well. Even with the level of work I can do, a lot of things I can do with my eyes closed. But there's a difference in my performance. So I can be bad at it, and look inconsistent if I do not disconnect. So there's also a value in disconnecting, whether or not you are a seasoned or brand new.
Yeah.
But to me, as somebody who may be new, you must disconnect, because
Yes.
again, that's where we get into not developing your own style. That's where we get into not being able to be creative on your own approach.
Yeah.
That's where we get into the doubts. I know there are some people who they have this thing about not posting certain things because somebody had a similar idea to them and they posted,
Yeah.
and they feel that what that person executed is a lot better than what they executed.
Yeah.
And to that, I say in response is that both are needed, because somebody is going to like what you did better, and somebody's going to like what the
I'm
other
guilty
person
of
did.
that. I've been guilty of
Sure,
that,
go ahead.
whereas, and I've been like afraid, like, this been done before, and like, again, like I said, my husband be like, so
Yeah. I
but
mean,
you haven't done it before, so like, yeah, that's needed.
yeah.
Like, it that is needed to where you like, what did I say before, like decompartmentalize things. Like you have to take yourself back. You have to take yourself out of that so that your creative juices can flow, and it's not inundated with what everybody else is saying and what everybody else is dictating.
Y'all heard that big word?
Hmm? What'd you say?
I was trying to see. I'm trying to see if the viewers heard that big word. She said inundated. We know big words too. Government.
But no, it's so true. It is very, very true, because that's what makes you creative, is because you're putting yourself into there. I'm not putting Anthony stuff. I'm not putting KCJ stuff. I'm not putting Scrawny Johnny stuff. You're putting,
Shout out Scrawny Johnny.
yeah, I know. Hey, Scrawny. You're putting yourself into it, and no one is uniquely you. You are you. And a lot of people forget that when it comes to social media. And it's easy to forget it because you're just like bombarded with it all the time. Like, one of the first people that I looked at, even going into this, was Chad Can't Draw. Is that? Oh no, Chad Can't Color.
Chad Can't Color.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chad.
Yeah, and he said he doesn't even necessarily look at other artists. He goes outside and looks at like the colors of like the sunset or something, or he goes outside and looks at the trees, and that gives inspiration to him. And it's true. Like, you can pull inspiration from other artists when you're starting out. It is good to start out and to mimic. That's fine if that's how
most people learn.
Yeah, but it's good for you. If you want to find your direction, then you're going to have to pull back and look within and look for yourself. Look what you can do, whether it's a circle and you draw an oblong circle rather than
Put some fires in the chat if y'all want to see Scrawny Johnny on here.
Yes.
Flood the chat. Flood this chat with Scrawny Johnny mentions.
But yeah, you have to, even if it's an oblong circle that you draw all the time, keep drawing that oblong circle until you make it to where we know that this is your oblong circle. It's not someone the same as someone else makes it. You're going to have your own style. But again, like I said, with social media, it is hard to necessarily quiet the noise.
Yeah, man, it's a big deal. Which is like, man, I I don't get it sometimes, like it's I can't lie, but sometimes like I disconnect because I read, like sometimes I just read the comments or the post, especially like Facebook. I am like almost 100% disconnected from Facebook at this point. It's almost pointless to even have one for me. Outside of the people, like I do go back to be like, hey, y'all still living, because I'm busy, so I haven't checked on y'all. But I just have to disconnect because it's like, man, sometimes I read stuff and it's just so disheartening. Like people being like, "Oh, I don't get no support and all of this," and "Oh, I'm tired of people," copying my style or like. I talked about it before. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast yet, but there was a point where people like all in the same day, which is funny. Y'all was trying to trigger me. That's what it was. Everybody sent me this link to a post in one of the Facebook groups, and I'm like, why? What's happening? So I usually ignore those, but a few key people sent it to me, and I'm like, okay, I got to go look. And it was somebody in there, like, was talking about that they made a sale. They sold something to a boutique. They made a sale. Cool. And so the person made it a point in the last sentence to say that nobody likes super detailed work like portraits and, and something else. So now you can see they was trying to trigger me. Yeah. You know who you are. You know who you are who sent me that post. It was a couple of y'all. Y'all know who you are. So I'm like, okay. I gotta hear this story because like nobody would say this, just like, like something triggered you. You wouldn't just say that just to say that. What's going on? And so I say, and I look and I say, this is an admin. I didn't even know the admins painted. Most of these admins do not paint, like, which is weird. Most of the admins, they just be there. Like, how did that happen? An admin that isn't a painter. But, I said, hey, man, what's up, bro? Like, what's going on? In a sense, I'm like, who hurt you? And he was just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, I don't ever see people doing this. I made X amount of dollars, which is a ridiculous amount of money for the design, and was like, I made X amount of dollars, blah, blah, blah. I haven't seen nobody make this. And, and I'm like, but that's not true. Like, do you know the members in your group? Like, are you familiar with them? How long you been an admin? And he never answered that part, but, at that point in this group has, man, I think that group got at least 1 million, maybe 2 followers. I'm like, I know at least 10 in your state, who are exactly what you said, it is, the public has no interest in, but they are doing very well for themselves, with this detailed, and some of them portrait work, And so, we were just talking about it. I'm trying to get him to like explain a little bit because he's just like skating around the answer, which I already knew. It's like you tried them and you couldn't do them, so you don't like them. I knew what it was, but I'm like, maybe I could be wrong. I be equally as foolish to be like, yeah, I know, but I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure because that's most people's thing. Because when they don't like them, they tried and couldn't do it. It's like people who don't like dancing. It's just because they can't dance, I'm speaking my truth a little bit, but so I just was like, hey man, let me see what's going on here. So. And he started to try to speak his points, and I'm like, hey, this is good. At least it's somebody that is actually like trying to speak in like some points instead of just talking crap and trying to turn into an insult game. But it was like, dude, like you did like have you checked like who you was talking to? Like, that's what I do. Like, and this group has lots of people in here who know me, thousands. and they know that too. You know, you new to me, so you know, like what's going on, you know, and we just this thing, and then eventually he was just like, yeah, I don't like him because I can't do him. And it's just like,
yeah,
you know, sad, you know, and that was like one of the reasons like I disconnect from these groups because you know stuff like that, like you know, you didn't have to do that. You know, you were supposed to celebrate your victory. You made some money. You made a fair amount of money. You made some rent money. Celebrate yourself. Why did you know dampen your own victory by trying to put somebody down, and also in the wrong group to do that, you know, because again, this group is I think at least 1 million people. There's at least 10 people in this group who are like too big, you know, like they don't even do anything in these groups no more because the group is too big, and you know they're too busy, you know, and they are the people you say that you know are irrelevant. They are very relevant. Yeah, you know. So obviously he was just talking out of some like pain, you know, and you know that pressure. You know, speaking of which, like I want to read this other part from this. It's the same chapter. Nobody knows what they're doing. Get this book. Let me see the price on here. Yeah, it's $15. Come on, you spend $15 at McDonald's. Skip that burger and buy this book. It's a book for artists.
I'm reading. I showed it right down.
Yeah, get a dub instead of getting tubs. You know, like when it says releasing the pressure. We all know that social media is not an accurate or realistic representation of reality. Hello. Even Instagram versus reality posts are created and curated specifically to be shared on Instagram and to provoke some kind of reaction. But although you know this is true, your brain struggles to allow you to genuinely feel the truth. Your mind playing tricks on you, homie. In 2017, a New York Times article titled, "How Evil is Tech?" The columnist David Brooks wrote, "Tech companies understand what causes dopamine surges." That's the feel-good chemical in your brain. Dopamine surges in the brain, and they lace their products with hijacking techniques that lure us in and create compulsion loops. Somebody put some eyes in the chat. Illuminati. Those compulsion loops are supposedly positive. You post, you get a reward, the likes, and feel compelled to post again. They are designed to keep feeding you dopamine through positive reinforcement to keep your attention for as long as possible. In a world of limitless information, our attention has become invaluable. This is the attention economy in action. The problem is compulsion loops thrive even more on negative reinforcement. Pay more attention to less things.
Yeah. I can see that. That's true. That is so true.
Telling you, this book right here ain't even a big book. Here, let me see. How many pages in this book? 228. You can read this. Nope. I'm sorry. It's at least 200. Let's say 230. 240. 240 pages. You can read this on the weekend.
I might
read this on the weekend.
Audiobook, though.
No, read it. Do some work. Read it when the kids go to sleep.
Man.
Or read it before you go to bed. I usually what I do is like I read like a chapter of a book before I go to bed. I just keep one by the nightstand. Or I mean obviously I got all my books in the studio and I read them when I get tired. I don't feel like painting no more. Yeah. But I want to stay productive. I just go read the books. Or if like Cause I mean, after I drop my son off at school, like that's my warm up time. Before I started working. So I either read or like I do like warm up exercises, like artists, warm up exercises. And sometimes just read a couple pages here and there. If I take a break to go eat or get something to drink, probably read a couple pages, something like that. But get this book. Nobody knows what they're doing. The author, I almost said the artist. He is an artist, but the author's name is Lee Crutchley.
Lee Crutchley.
Crutchley. Yeah, like crutch, the word, and then Ley. Lee Crutchley. This book, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, from the first part of it, nobody knows what they're doing. That's it. But like, I mean, it's a big thing because like that last sentence, just to say, pay more attention to less things. Let that sit in your spirit, and see what that means to you. Pay more attention to less things.
Less like seriously.
Right. And even just like you got to understand how addicted you are to this social media game. You got to understand.
Spend 2 to 4 hours just
swiping, and before you know it, you like, dang, hold up, well, I was supposed to be doing something. Yeah, man, it'll happen. But you also have to believe, because he talks more about it as he go. And I mean, I'll be reading out this book forever, just to share information. But and two, sometimes when y'all talk to me in the DMs, some things that I say to you, I found that in a book, or let's say if you value what I say, some of that is, I had the feelings, I've had the feelings or I've had the experience, but I really was only able to put it into words because I read it. Because I read it. When I read it, then I was like, now I can put this into words and talk to people about it. So, that's one of my reasons to advocate for books, is that some of your feelings you might be able to put into words once you read it and hear somebody else say it. Then now you have the proper words for it. Cause like that, like I could talk about social media all day, but like just to explain like the dopamine cycle, like the fact that like, you post something and let's say you get more likes than what you used to, you like, woo, I'm on fire. Let's go. Now you motivated, you like a crackhead, you hype now, But say just like crackheads, that hype go down, and now you gotta go find some more. You gotta go find some more content to smoke. It's real.
That's why I do, like, even just for motivation. That's why I'm thankful to you guys, like even with the lives, because it kind of reminds me of like I had said it before. And it kind of reminds me of when you were in high school in art class and you had like-minded individuals in art class. Well, I did.
Yeah, I didn't like too many of my class members. It was like maybe 2 or 3 every semester. The rest of them is like, I don't like y'all.
Wow. I know.
I'm sitting at the cool kids table.
The class or the school that I went to, if you wanted art class, you had to take it because you wanted it. It wasn't like it was something that, and of course, you got people with I did have those people with their egos and just thought they was the stuff all the time. And, yeah. But
not even that good to have your nose up like that.
But no, but even like I said, with the lives, it helps and it motivates me because like that's the other thing that even like back in the day, a lot of artists didn't share things with people, and it was always this competition thing. And I used to hate that because
you telling me
it's enough room. Like it's like, how many people did you say it was on the continent? on in the world, like in space, like
About 7-something billion.
yeah. So I mean, it's enough
Might even be
room.
more now. 8 or 9 probably.
And what is it? My dad always say, because I didn't even say that. My dad, I'm a PK. I
Oh Lord.
I'm not that type of PK though.
Mm,
So my
mm,
dad
mm,
is a pastor and my mom's a teacher. So
mm.
wow. So like I've never understood why people don't share that's why I was saying, that's why I respect like what you're doing, because people don't know, and then you're afraid to ask, because then you don't know if people are going to share the information. Everybody
Yeah.
always think that you out to get them, but as like I was saying, what I learned like from just growing up in church, and one of the things my dad always says, iron sharpeneth iron. So if you do give somebody like your, what do you call it, your little secrets, it's gonna push you even further, because then you got to, do what you do and hold your own in a sense. So
Yeah. 100%.
I'm
A
just
100%.
I'm just well, I don't know if I should say shocked, but I can't stand that where people don't share things and teach each other, because then it's better for the community. It's better you push each other to be better, and to I don't know, make even just the community
Oh
even
wait.
more
Hold
relevant.
on. We gotta put that in we gotta put that up right here. Hold on. Hold on. We got this. High Life Kicks TV. High Flight
Yes.
Kicks
Or
TV.
be honest about the
Right there.
influence. Yes. Yes.
Ooh,
And
a word. The doors of the church are now open. Can we get some praying hands, some doves, so something. Cause that
mhm.
right there.
Yeah, like being honest, like the pitfalls or the pit holes, and just like letting people know, the younger ones. Like, I mean, it's I don't understand. I do understand it, because back in the day it used to be like that. That everybody used to like keep it close to the chest. But it's like, you if you expect, and like you were saying before, this was a long time ago, you were saying like, even with the customizing community, if we expect it to be something, we're gonna have to work together at some point. um
It's no other way. It's no other way. Like
I
I
froze.
know who it is, bro. KCJ. I know everything. I keep telling you, I'm FBI with this. But it is it's this it's there's this like high level insecurity that has
Mm-hmm.
always existed just in the art world.
Mm-hmm.
Just because for one, I'm just gonna flat out say it, like it's our fault, as
Mm-hmm.
artists,
Mm-hmm.
because we are not sharing. That's the
Yeah.
point. That's the point of this podcast. But what I mean by we are not sharing is that we are not sharing feelings. We are not
Mm-hmm.
sharing
This
day
is
to
true.
days. We're not sharing day to days. We're not sharing, the small victories. We want to share the big
Mm-hmm.
one. We're not. We're
Mm-hmm.
not sharing. We're not sharing the small setbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You want to show people the dramatic stuff you going through.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not doing that, like, and again, that's like the point of this this podcast is to talk about everything that encompasses an artist. This is to shed light on the fact that we still people too,
Yeah.
like because the problem is at least from my perspective, is that Hollywood has told our story more than we have told our story.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood makes people believe what artists is. We all depressed.
Yeah.
You know, we all like wear like dark clothes. We all wear dark clothes. We all got anxiety. We pill popping because we all sad. We can't keep jobs. We live in people's basements. We walk around with paint on our clothes. Well, that is true for me. But we get all these things. We moody. We like talk to people crazy. Some of us are some of those people who like we got our nose up, like that's all of us. We snooty, and stuff like that. The street artists come from like a troubled background.
Yeah.
Like they was a bad kid, and painting is the only thing that keep them from joining gangs and all that kind of stuff. Man, I'm a street kid too, and I ain't never thought about joining no gang, not once. It's just but Hollywood has told our story way too much, and like look at it. As a matter of fact, anybody that's watched Insecure, it's been several episodes of Insecure where like there have been men who were artists in those shows, and look at them. Look how they talk about. Look how they like them dudes. They be they be having all these like like stereotypical issues. Dang, what's that show on Netflix? Netflix had a show. It was a remake of Spike Lee. It's She's Gotta Have It. I think that's what it's called. She's Gotta Have It, I think. And it's a remake of Spike Lee stuff. And like the girl was an artist, but she was like very promiscuous, and like she had a man for everything, and like she couldn't keep her pants on, and all of that. And I've seen that stereotype in Hollywood where like artists are just like hypersexual, like we can't keep our pants on, like we can't stay consistent with nothing, If you've seen that movie Sorry to Bother You, I think that's on Netflix. I think at this point. It's on one of them streaming services. Sorry to Bother You. The main character, his girlfriend was an artist. They was sleeping in a garage. She that we weird. Like she had an exhibition. And her exhibition had like animal blood, in it and all kind of stuff. All that, and especially if you are a minority artist, now you got a whole bunch of stereotypes about you.
Yeah.
Like you got all types of stereotypes about you, but it's because we're not telling our stories. We're not trying to tell our stories, at least in my opinion. We're not trying to tell our stories. We letting people tell them for us. And that to me is a part of the reason why we go through some things we go through. I mean,
why do you think that is?
How life kicks.
Why do you think that is that we aren't telling our stories?
It goes back to what I was saying a couple minutes ago about being insecure. We I could say we, but I honestly know that this applies to people in everything. There's so many people who are just so insecure about where they are in life, or their capabilities. Again, it goes to that comparing stuff. Some people may have not received positive reinforcement, as a child, or even just as adults. Some people might have like really achieved something and got put down in at the highest moment that they achieved it, and there was nobody to catch them on the fall back down. One story I like to tell people is, I remember this might have been, it was I think 3rd or 4th grade. We had to do a report for it was like they was doing a career day thing. We had to do a report, and so you had to pick a job, and of course, Like I have had private lessons. I've been going to art institute on the weekends in the summer, all this kind of stuff. This is what I know because despite my family's circumstances, you know, this is what they allowed me to be. They allowed me to be myself. Fair enough. Uh, so I did my report on Pablo Picasso, and I did my report on Pablo Picasso. So you had to have somebody, that was like famous, in that in that career field. And you know what all the typical kids from the hood pick. They pick athletes,
Yeah.
like stuff like that. You know, I should have at least got some praise for being outside the box. Everybody was like Michael Jordan, Kobe, stuff like that. Some girls, was picking like track stars like Jackie Joyner, Kersey and FloJo and stuff like that. Venus and Serena. It was like all y'all picked athletes. Like that's all y'all know is sports. There's something else in this world besides sports. You don't know doctors or nothing like that. I mean, MLK as a career, he was a pastor. I mean, like something, like. But I picked, Pablo Picasso, and and I talked about having a career as an artist. I crushed that because I didn't even need my poster to talk about it. I'm like, this is something I know, like I know a lot about this dude, because I was an avid reader, and I seen his work every weekend, going to class. I seen his work every weekend. I knew a lot about him. I didn't need, to read cue cards and posters and stuff. And so, the teacher was just like, oh, that's great, and all that. But like, why'd you pick this? And, when I said why, it's like, well, this is my goal. It's always been my goal, like this is what I want to do when I get older. And, she proceeded to tell the child there ain't no money in this. You might want to pick you might want to pick something better.
Yeah.
Why would you ever tell a child such a thing like that?
Yeah.
And I got in trouble that day in school because I clapped back because I'm like, yo, like, you don't know what you're talking about, like flat out, just like that. Like, you don't know what you're talking about because there's plenty of famous artists that make more than you as a teacher. And that was obviously like, oh, well, okay, so now you want to be disrespectful. This is my classroom. And it's like, well, you disrespecting me because evidently the child that sits in the back of your classroom and draws all the time, you would tell them that they dream, they passion is worthless. Why would you do that? What kind of teacher are you? You should get fired. Like, I mean, that's for real. That's how I feel because if you would tell one kid that, you would tell another kid that, and and as a teacher, you should never say anything that could demotivate a child. Never. Nothing should come out of your mouth like that. You should not. You should not be allowed to be a teacher anymore because that's a life you might have just snuffed out. And snuffing out that child's life might be snuffing out other children's lives because children that you don't pay attention to, children you put no effort into, do the same thing to other kids. Hurt people. So, for an adult to say that to me is some wild stuff. Why should you be allowed to keep your job? Why? Oh, because it's the first time you ever did that. If you do it, mom used to say, if you lie, you will steal, and if you steal, you will kill. So, to what lengths would you not go if you would say that to an innocent child? I mean, that's just how I feel. Why should you have a job? Or at least you don't need to work here where you would tell kids that. But I mean, I went to an elementary school where I heard a teacher say as I was walking past the teachers lounge that she would never put her children in this school. She would never put her children in this district. These kids ain't never going nowhere. And like basically none of these kids in this school got any hope. Why would anybody put their kids in this school?
Well, it goes to the people who, because my mom was a teacher. She's a retired teacher right now, and she used to come and tell some stories all the time. There are some people that should not be teachers because
they're horrible.
Some of them just do it for a job, and you can never be a teacher just for the job because you're teaching pretty much the next
Future,
generation.
yeah. So I was gonna say, future generations. What are you doing?
Don't no, you can't do that. So yeah, no, that's a whole
Yeah,
nother
you
subject.
know,
Like the
yeah.
value, like even a teacher in general, the value of teacher, there's no value to where a teacher is. Like I said, that's a whole nother subject that even came out during this whole uh pandemic and stuff.
Absolutely.
The value of their what they do, and then you get teachers that burn out. You get teachers that
And all the
they
teachers at my
age
school were
out.
burnouts. Yeah,
Huh?
and the same thing. All of them was burnouts, and they definitely was aged out. Every teacher I had was basically old enough to be my grandparents. That what it was old enough to be my mother, or old enough to be like a grandmother to me.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I love it. I didn't even say that. Like my mom, she was an artist, and
Mm.
she actually did some stuff for Sears. She did some stuff even when she was younger. She did I believe like some album covers for Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh,
And
okay. Well,
but this was it's kind of like she pushed me to do it because her passion was teaching, and it's kind of like it's coming full circle because I picked it up. And actually my dad knew how to draw too, and I found that out when I was like 10. He just came in my room one day and was like, hey, let me show you something. I was like, oh, okay. And he drew, what was that, Sesame Street. I had a Sesame Street poster, and he drew all of them. And so
nice.
yeah, it's like I said, it's coming full circle. And like my mom, that was one of the things that that's why she became a teacher, because she had people telling her. She grew up in Oklahoma, and during
Oh,
those times, what happens
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Oklahoma with
I do. I do.
people with the darker complexions. Um, she grew up and was told those things, that she would never amount to anything. She wouldn't do anything. Like teachers literally telling her as a child, you'll never be anything. Wind up, it was so funny because she wound up going even up to her PhD. And she it was like I remember when she got her master's, she actually went back to the school, and that teacher was still there. And I think that
Wow.
teacher only went up to their bachelor's, and she had two masters. And it was kind of like she went back there and was like, oh, weren't you the one that said I'd never amount to anything?
Yeah,
Hmm,
scrub.
didn't amount to much, huh? But it's kind of like that. Like I said, that's one of the main reasons why she became a teacher, because you do got, yeah, I don't understand, how can you become a teacher and you would say something like that to a child? You're the I it doesn't compute in my brain. It does not compute. But yeah,
Who knows, man? Who knows why people say some of the stuff they say? I don't even think they even. I don't even think they even know why they say what they say.
but yeah, that it goes back to say, like I said, with the like what you're saying with this platform and teaching, it has to be done. And you have to be honest and share the information, so that way, because a lot of people complain about, well, this industry is like this and people don't do this, and why they don't do this, because no one shares and tells them the truth. I mean, you gotta tell them the truth. You gotta share the information. You gotta teach. What is that? Each one teach one, reach one teach one, or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Each one reach one, so each one could
yeah.
teach one.
Yeah. So it's it's needed. It's needed in order for, even as like you said, with the customizers and a whole, the whole as a whole community, to be able to be relevant in a sense, or to even get better. We gotta teach each other so we can get better and can get that prominence that is needed. So
Look at us, he using them big words again. Prominence. Look, prominence. We know big words too. Absolutely, that's a big word.
But
Look at her. Look at her. You prominence. I'm just kidding. I know that word too. I should.
But yeah.
So, do you have any last words that you would like to give the people? Anything? Hey, I mean, you came in speaking heavy about being a mom, being a family person, anything that you can offer the fam, the A&H fam, so that we can close this thing on out.
Like I said before, be kind to yourself. It's you are on your own journey. So be kind to yourself and take the time to step back and unplug and get grounded, so that way you can be more creative and do what
That's a big one.
do what you do best, and that's create, because you can't create if you got too many voices in your head instead of your own. So be kind to yourself.
Okay. Tell them where they can find you. You got any projects coming up? Anything big we should know? Church announcement, PK?
Yeah, I'm at Amanda Lester 83, and then I also am at all.customs. Those are my two handles on Instagram. And then I'm working on two shoes now. I still my SpongeBob and my Naruto. I'm doing a Naruto shoe. So
do you got them on you?
Do
you got them nearby?
I still have this one. I just
look at that.
Not done yet, but this is
drop some fire emojis.
And then I haven't, the SpongeBob, I'm still working on this way across the room over there. But I
need some
shoe that this is the other side of it. You can't see because of the light. But yeah. So that one is the other shoe. Right there.
I need some DJ Clue bombs. So I could drop the DJ Clue bombs for that. Look at that. Oh man, show some love. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I sure appreciate y'all for joining. I'm your host, Anthony, aka Sneaker Fair Kicks. This is the Unpainted Podcast. And as I always close out, I love you, appreciate you. Thanks for coming by. Tune in to the next one. Like, comment, share. And always remember, the tag is make art and hustle. Peace.
You're listening to the Unpainted Podcast with Sneaker Fair Kicks, the dopest artists weighing in on staying creative, money, fame, and glory. Get that creative kick you need for the weekend. The Unpainted Podcast. Make art and hustle.